graduated, elevated. Now it's my time to shine, yeah, let's go. Major moves, power moves, take it to the top one time, non-stop.
Hello and welcome to PhD Hard Talk. My name is Noma Mguni, and thank you so much for your time. Could you please introduce yourself, Mojalefa Daniel Maluka, in terms of what you do, your university, and we can crack on.
Hi, Noma. It's good to be on this platform, and to everyone that's going to watch this. My name is Mojalefa Daniel Maluka. I am a PhD candidate in management studies, specializing in human resource management at the University of South Africa. So I'm in my third year. And so my research is on TVET lecturers and their career journeys. More specifically around the subject of their career development using career sponsorship as a tool to support them. So so in a nutshell, that's who I am. I'm currently a senior lecturer in a TVET college. I think a lot of people don't know what TVET stands for. It stands for Technical Vocational Education and Training, right? So we are basically the intermediary between high schools and universities. And if you've been to South Africa, you'll know that universities are highly contested. We have a lot of students that want to be in university, but some of them don't make it into university for either their grades or, accessibility issues, funding, and so on. So that's where TVET comes in. So we bridge that gap and we teach students, technical skills and competences. So that's what got me into TVET research and joining HR with TVET research.
No, lovely. Thank you so much for sharing. The first question is, why did you apply for a PhD?
It's a long story, but so basically I wanted to be a psychologist, right? And if you've ever been in that journey, you will know it's not the easiest in the world, right? So I was pretty young, so focus is not as good. So I didn't do so well in terms of my honors degree and so on, but I was working as a TVET lecturer already. And then I just kind of pivoted, got myself into a postgraduate diploma in business administration, because one of the professors at the university told me, find something else to do. Psychology is not for you. That was so discouraging. So discouraging, But so goes life. I mean, you can't look at those things and think it's the end of the road. You need to be agile, So got myself into the same university, and got into business school and made it. Got very good grades for the postgraduate diploma because I was focused this time around, And soon after that, made it into a master's degree, MCom, master's degree in commerce, in business management, specializing in human resource management. Worked with a fantastic supervisor. I know there's a special word that you guys use for supervisors. We call them supervisors. So quite a thorough man. He just whipped me to shape, You know how those guys are. The comments are brutal, but I was like, I am not backing down for a thing, And needless to say, we kind of vibed quite well. And he whipped me to shape, literally. I thank him for he's quite a particular guy. Prof. Mulaudzi, MC Mulaudzi, quite a thorough guy. Like he just checks every nook and cranny. Anything you you hoy at him, as we say in Afrikaans, he just checks it out and he's like, this is wrong. And I'm like, oh no, this man is horrible, but he's really kind of got me into a space where I have dug in my heels when it comes to academia. I found a passion and a love. So yeah, I still do some stuff in terms of the psych part that just went into coaching a bit. But yeah, from then on, got myself my master's, and we began the conversation about a PhD. My supervisor was like, dude, I think you've got what it takes. I'm like, who, me? Which guy? Who,
Not me.
Yeah, not me. Like, I never thought that I would make it into a PhD. I'm not that much of a genius. But he was like, I think you've got what it takes. Apply. And I applied. Even in how I got into the masters, it was weird because I think they had cut off all selection and somehow they had a portal open for a couple of more candidates. And what got his attention was my topic, the TVET sector. Because he had seen it all, like, done stuff on multinational companies and all the other stuff. So my topic is actually what got him interested. And he's like, okay, this guy, because in our space, we don't go for supervisors, they go for us, which is nice. Because I always read articles on getting supervisors and how you have to hunt for them and so on. In our space, you basically just say, "Tada, I'm here, hopefully you'll pick me." you know? So we
Yeah.
don't have we don't have to be stressed about finding the supervisor for your thesis. So that's how I got into the masters. He got interested in my topic, the TVET sector and lecturers and so on. So I decided to continue with that, even though my master's was in the TVET lecturer professional occupational competences. This time I went into their career journey. It's quite a small sector, but it's riddled with challenges, and that's what got me interested in the topic and their careers, because I was once a PL1 lecturer, which is a classroom-based lecturer before the promotion. So I know how it feels, to deal with some of the issues they're dealing with. So that's what got me interested in that, the long and short of it.
Well, shout out to Prof from Laudi. Big man. Big up. So in terms of the application process, then, like you said, it's quite different compared to some of our challenges where we hunt for the right professor or right supervisor to work with us. They look for you essentially in terms of the market. What are the top 3 things that one must consider when applying for a PhD, in your opinion, in terms of your current market?
I hope I'll remember all 3, but yeah, look, I think the biggest thing is do what you have easy access to. Sometimes we choose topics that are outside of our reach, outside of our scope. What made life a bit easy for me was I'm still in the TVET sector. So gathering data it was difficult, but it wasn't impossible. In some cases, you find candidates going for topics that are like astrophysics, and yet you are, you are into English literature, and you're like, okay, dude, like that's not gonna work. It may be a passion, but is it accessible? It may be something that you truly love, but is it accessible? Are you going to be able to get the data? And yeah, so I think for me that's the number one thing, that the passion, the access to data. Secondly, it's the topic. I know they're interlinked, but yeah, don't choose an impossible topic. Like what is a doable topic? It shouldn't be too broad. Find a niche, man. Find something that very few people are are interested in, maybe, or that just very few people are going to run for, because everybody does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got to find your niche. And the third thing, find something that's going to be relevant, because at the end of the day, the utility element of your topic is important. As much as, yes, it's going to be like a thesis that only a few people are going to look at. It would be great for you to produce something beyond just a thesis. Is somebody out there going to read your topic and think, yeah, man, let's get a book out of this, let's get some notes out of this, let's talk about this in Parliament, let's talk about this in some other forums. Yeah, so I think those three are the factors that I would put in when you're looking for a topic.
No, lovely. So now to move on to your research. What is the aim or objective of your research?
So the primary thing is to produce a sponsorship framework that can be applied to the TVET sector with regards to TVET lecturers, to help them, like when it comes to support their career. One of the things that I realized when I was a TVET lecturer was just the lack of support, and that was there. It's almost like you are thrown into, I won't say an ocean because it's not so big, the sector is not so big. So you are thrown inside this like river, that's flowing, and you are just expected to swim. Very little coaching, very little mentorship, very little sponsorship, which is where my topic is. As we know, there's this whole thing called a patronage system, right? So there's your role model, your coach, your mentor, and then your sponsor. So there's quite a lot of books that talk to career sponsorship. I think there's one by Hewlett that talks to career sponsorship. There's one by Jovina Eng that talks to career sponsorship. Quite several other books. There's one with the title Inclusive Sponsorship that I can think of, forgot the author. So, so my topic is about how do we build a framework that can be utilized by TVET leaders, HR practitioners, to help to support TVET lecturers who feel like they are being marginalized. They are just an instrument in this whole big thing. They don't feel like human, So how do we kind of offer them the support that they need to feel like, my career means something? For a lot of people, maybe not just TVET lecturers, we want our careers to mean something, and we want to be taken seriously. We want to receive support. And whenever somebody feels like I'm just an instrument here, nobody really cares about me, then they are not going to produce, they're not going to perform. So in this case, you find a lot of TVET lecturers languishing, kind of saying, let me go to work and make my paycheck and go home. None of them actually feel like I'm going to get promoted, I'm going to get supported, I'm going to get funding. It's like, I'm on my own. I'm in this journey, I'm on my own. Chances of me getting a promotion are near zero. Chances of me getting funding are near zero. Chances of me getting any form of like meaningful support, reward, are near zero. So I'm just in this, let me get my paycheck, go home. I'm not gonna even think about things like organizational citizenship and all that, because I'm like in no man's land, So that's what really got me going. So I built a sponsorship framework that hopefully can be utilized to think around the topic and to develop TVET lecturer capacity, TVET leader capacity, because without good leaders, workers are basically just going to be on their own. The journey becomes, let me work and go home, So the issue of TVET leader capacity building is important as well. in all of this. So the sponsorship framework consists of TVET leaders working along with TVET lecturers to make TVET lecturers' careers more meaningful, more joyful, to feel more supported, to feel like, okay, fine. Even though I may not get a promotion tomorrow, I'm getting quite a lot of nice benefits from this. This whole thing means something. I'm not just here as an instrument and gonna be thrown out in no time, you know. Yeah.
Thank you. That was really insightful. So the next question that I have is your focus then on early careers or mid careers?
Yeah, look, mentorship usually deals with early career um, positions, people that I even read this line that says people often feel over mentored and under sponsored, you know.
Mhm.
I think when you are like 10 years in, mentorship is no longer something you're looking for. You're looking for opportunities. I think a lot of us are like, dude, like I've had mentors that I can list for years and years. Right now, I'm over mentored. I think I need a sponsor. I need somebody that will advocate for me, that's going to give me opportunities, send me a DM and tell me that this is what is out there, go for it. Somebody that's going to recognize my potential, you know? So my research mainly deals with sponsorship and just people that are in there for quite a while and have not found joy because their networks are closed. Gatekeepers are standing at the gate, and very few career opportunities, career growth opportunities, very little career mobility. So it's mid-career employees.
Mm. So then the question that I have, because obviously in terms of focus country, it is South Africa. I'm not sure in terms of if you were focusing on a particular region, but my understanding and from my research is that there's high levels of unemployment. And also, we have so many initiatives from the government to say we need more women in mid and senior positions in terms of academia, for example. Then we have the BBE, I don't know if I've said that right, the
Yeah,
broad black based something,
yeah.
economic something, again, initiative to get more women into positions. Now, going back to your point to say I'm over mentored, I need a sponsor. The government is pushing for more people to get into mid positions in academia and South Africans in terms of native South Africans. So to say I'm over mentored, I need a sponsor when there's high levels of unemployment, is that a reasonable approach in your opinion?
Yeah, look, a sponsor is an advocate. A sponsor is somebody that doesn't just point you to the door, they open the door for you. And I think for a lot of us, it's not that we lack competence, we just lack opportunities. And I think um, going back to things like triple BEE, those are things that are highly contested in terms of arguments and so on their effectiveness. There are areas where BEE has been very successful, but then there are some areas where you can see that there are sectors which still need quite a bit of work to be done in terms of exposure. And as you've correctly pointed out, I mean, our unemployment rate now sits at around 31 or 32%, which is quite ridiculous, So for somebody to cry out and to say, I need a sponsor, they're just basically saying, dude, open doors for me,
But
I've
how
got
can
the
one open the
competence.
door when they too are in fear that, you know what, there's no employment. I'm stuck in this position. There's a glass ceiling because of high levels of unemployment, not because I necessarily want to be here, but there's no
Yeah,
other opportunity. So where am I going to go if I say I'll get, I'll move over because I have children's as well. I
yeah.
have family. So therefore, the only thing I can offer you is mentorship because that's the only thing that is available that I can offer you. So in terms of that rationale or logic, do you still believe that it is an unreasonable approach when you've stated as well and agreed with the
Yeah,
point that I raised in terms of there's high levels of unemployment. So what do we do as a nation when it
yeah.
comes to sponsorship when there is no opportunity?
I think the question is, are there really no opportunities? And by that I mean, now looking at it long term, you spoke
Mhm.
about the high unemployment rate. I think the private sector and the government need to actually sit down and look at how do we recalibrate the labor market in our space, because the the unemployment rate didn't get itself to 31, 32%. Something happened to get the economy to that space. And in that case, then one needs to sit down and say, but what can be fixed? What do we need to work on? I mean, you're looking at companies in our nation which are closing because of the harsh economy globally. I understand that, but there are also national issues that are there that are, I mean, it could be political and maybe lack of political will as well. But the number one thing, Noma, that I've realized is, somebody wisely once said, everything rises and falls on leadership. If we are not going to have leaders that think on behalf of the nation, because the other thing is you look at the wastage and expenditure and corruption and all these other things, those are opportunities lost, you know, which could create the jobs that could end up fixing the economy. But when you have leaders that are putting their hands in the cookie jar instead of saying, "Hey guys, let's share these cookies," then obviously the unemployment rate will sit at 32%, not because it cannot be fixed, but simply because there's a lack of political will. There's nepotism, there's self-interest, there's my kids are going to come into these positions, so you are not getting a thing, and it's far-reaching as well, Noma, in a sense that if my kids that I want to put into that position are not competent,
Mhm.
then obviously that means that the sectors are not going to grow, they will die, you know. But if you
Mhm.
put in competent people, if you put in people who are competent, then the sectors grow,
Mhm.
which is now the debate between, do we get managers in there or leaders? Because leaders make things grow. Managers manage. And then there are incompetent people as well that have been given roles that are quite high up, whether it's in the state-run enterprises, and so on. So when you get the wrong people into these sectors, then things don't grow. And as a result, then, it spirals into that whole debate about, I can't open the door for you because we don't have enough. But we don't have enough, not because there isn't enough, but because somebody's out there keeping all the chips.
Mm.